So what I have here is my Mega Knight deck that I've been using in 1v1 battles for, I think, almost 2 years now. And so what I've done here is I've replaced my Mega Knight spot with the Electro Giant card. And what I'm going to be doing is obviously playing a match with the Electro Giant, and I'm going to take plays and analyze them. And well, we're really just going to check this card out. So I don't know how well it's going to work with this deck, but from what I've seen, it's actually not too different of a card from the Mega Knight itself. They both have very similar properties, and for the cost of one more elixir, I guess we're going to see how this goes. Alright, so this is a replay of my first match with the Electro Giant in my deck. And the first time I play, it's going to be really interesting. So what my opponent here starts out by doing is he places a witch in the back to build a push, obviously. And so I place a Dark Prince to counter it, put the Skarmy there. Not really the wisest decision. But then what you see here is that this mob is obviously going to obliterate the Dark Prince very easily, but it's going to leave the Prince at relatively low HP. So obviously the shield is taken out, he's still going, and so I've just saved up enough elixir for the Electro Giant now, and from what I've seen, it looks like now is a perfect opportunity to play it as a defensive card to make it so that these troops do not go for the tower. So I'm going to play it on this mob right here. And as you can see, it does damage almost instantly. And it doesn't look like it's hitting the baby dragon. So I do not believe it targets air troops at this point. But it's doing a significant amount of damage to that witch. And then it actually starts doing damage to the baby dragon as the baby dragon gets more and more in its range, which is pretty interesting considering that I thought it wouldn't do anything to flying troops, but apparently I was wrong. And so obviously this Electro Giant is killed before he can really do anything to the tower, but it's just got an insane amount of HP. Like really, it's just got so much health there that it can just kind of just walk on with multiple troops attacking it, and hardly it's really kind of difficult to stop it from getting to the tower at all. Like even if it only gets a hit or two, it's pretty difficult to stop it in its tracks. Alright, now this is where I'm going to start to build an Electro Giant push. And so I see he places down the crossbow and it's in range to hit my tower, it looks like. And so I was originally going to build the Electro Giant push behind the right Princess Tower, but seeing that the crossbow was, or that the Princess Tower was in the crossbow's range, I decided to put the Electro Giant in front of the Princess Tower to absorb all of those shots. And as you'll see in a moment, it's really not doing much to the Electro Giant in terms of HP loss. This thing's really just a tank. So, and then you can see I placed the bats down, and then he places a wizard to try and help kill the Electro Giant, but this thing has just got so much health that it's barely doing anything here. And even though neither the wizard or the musketeer were in the zapping range of the Electro Giant, it provided like a distraction so that I can get more elixir and then I can counter both of these pushes that he's throwing at me here on either side. Alright, so as you can see now on the right side, I've got an Electro Giant kind of cruising up the right lane there. Obviously, again, he's barely taking any damage. And the Witch is in the zap range of the Electro Giant there, and it just the Witch with the little amount of damage that the Witch does, it pretty much barely affects the Electro Giant, so that it's able to just kind of zap the Witch off as it's pushing towards the tower. And level 11, you can see here, he really doesn't do that much damage. It's like around 100, 200, but he's just got so much health that it's kind of, I almost want to say it's like kind of on the scale of the Mega Knight, because I don't remember looking at how much health he has, but I'll do sort of a comparison in a little bit. And the Musketeer is obviously out of the zap range here, but those shots really aren't doing that much to the Electro Giant as it's taking health off the tower. And so you can see it gets the tower down to less than 100 HP. And one more shot would have killed it, obviously, but that deals much more damage than I needed to, which sets it up so that I can easily pull this match in overtime. Or this is kind of a weird pause, as you can tell. And the system's a little glitchy right now, but I've got one final play here that's really crucial to my victory right now. And so what I'm doing is I'm placing an Ice Wizard back, and the Prince obviously gets a hit on the tower, but what I'm about to do is I'm about to place the Electro Giant in between the Prince and the tower so that he can obviously direct the Prince's attention away from the tower, absorb all those hits, and this is probably what saved the match for me, because if I didn't make this play, I probably would have lost. And so if I can resume this at half speed, what I do is the Electro Giant obviously absorbs all the Prince's shots here, and the Musketeer is far enough away from the tower where her firepower is also focused on the Electro Giant. And so the only threat I have left to the tower really is this baby dragon, which is where this zap that I have ready in my hand is going to come into play. So obviously it's a known fact where once you zap an enemy troop, it retargets to the closest entity, the closest enemy entity to it. You know, there's a fun little phrase there, enemy entity. And so it kind of retargets. So what I do here is I zap the baby dragon, which you're going to see is going to retarget its attention to focusing fire on the Electro Giant instead of on the Princess Tower. And obviously this Electro Giant push right here is what pretty much gets me the match, because as you can see, the Wizard and the Crossbow are entirely focused on the Electro Giant, which gives the Ice Wizard a chance to hit the tower, and it's a one shot from there. And that is the victory. Well, I realize that this video is already a bit lengthy, so what I'm going to do here is I'm just going to finish out the video by saying that I do not think the Electro Giant to Mega Knight comparison is going to be included in this video, but you guys can let me know in the comments if you really want to see that comparison, and if so, I will make another video with a deeper comparison on the Electro Giant versus the Mega Knight in terms of stats and how you can play them and whatnot. So yeah, just let me know in the comments if you want to see that Electro Giant versus Mega Knight comparison. And well, thanks for watching and come back soon.